Also following up on an abortion case about to go before the U.S. Supreme Court. The High Court will consider the legality of Mississippi's ban on most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, which had been struck down by a lower court ruling. Dr. Sean Wilson, an associate professor of political science at Wright State, is joining us now. This abortion restriction in Mississippi is the first to reach the court from a wave of state laws meant to challenge the 1973 Roe v. Wade, which declares access to abortion a constitutional right. It's hard when dealing with such a politically and emotionally charged topic. How will the justices be approaching this?
You know, this is going to be, I think, one of the biggest cases we've ever had since Casey. You know, you had Roe, and then you had, in 1992, the decision in Casey, which a lot of people thought they were going to throw Roe out. Remember, they had 8 Republican-appointed justices back in 1992. It wasn't a 6-3 majority in terms of who appointed those justices. It was 8-1, huge advantage by Republican-appointed justices. And out of it, Roe was saved. It was a 5-4 decision. And I think we're crossing that same watershed now. They're going to go back and look at this. This is a very substantial intrusion of the Mississippi statute. And the way that they're going to handle it, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. They're either going to uphold Roe and maybe allow states to do more, allow them to regulate more, which is what Casey did, or they're going to do some real harm.
What seems to be in question in terms of this specific restriction is the age of viability, and they're asking to take into account advancements in medical knowledge. So in a larger sense, how would the outcome affect other states and abortion access across the country?
You raise a brilliant question. Everyone's talking about this statute being so bad. It's 15 weeks only. You know, the viability of the fetus is usually between 20 and 24 months, or I'm sorry, weeks. And there's a gray area in there. The statute itself is bad, but the question that the court is considering isn't that bad. The question presented is actually fairly vanilla. The question is simply, is a prohibition on abortion anywhere prior to the viability line, can any of those be upheld? And that's what they're going to look at. You know, Ohio has a prohibition that's not allowed to be enforced, and it's only for 20 weeks. So it's not 15, it's 20. Usually, you know, viability is around 22 to 24. And so this is what the court is going to look at.
With places like Planned Parenthood, and as we move forward with this decision, they're obviously going to take it up in the fall. And you look back in history, what do you anticipate? Because both sides seem to feel pretty strongly about their stances on this.
I think I hear you asking me to make a prediction, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. Because we'll know next year. Then the court will hold this case for decision. We won't get it till next June. So I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. I think Roe is going to be saved, and I think the justices who are going to do it is going to be Roberts and Kavanaugh. However, I think the conservatives will get some consolation relief because they're going to lower the standard a little bit and allow some other regulations to take place. So I think that it's going to be one of these cases where Roe is upheld, but the standard for regulating is going to be lowered so that states can do a few more things.
All right. Well, we're certainly going to be covering it every step of the way. Dr. Sean Wilson, an associate professor of political science from Wright State University. As always, we appreciate your insight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Brooke.